Australia's program to modernise its submarine fleet. It's an exciting undertaking in theory, but a process that has been long and drawn out and full of controversy. There's so much that can be said about AUKUS that we've decided to make a video series about it, going in chronological order. And so our first task in the series is to explain Australia's current submarines, their capabilities, and why they need to be replaced. So, let's get started. While this larger series is all about AUKUS, we feel it necessary to set the scene and go over the conditions that prompted Australia to seek replacements for its submarines. As a result, this video's main focus is on the Collins class, which have been part of the Royal Australian Navy since 1996. As explained by an official Navy webpage, it was back in January 1982 that submarine builders and designers around the world were invited to register their interest in providing new submarines to replace Australia's aging Oberon-class submarines. The country wanted 6 conventional submarines, which were to be built in Australia to Australian specifications. In the end, 2 out of 7 submissions were selected to compete for the final design of the submarine. 1, the Type 471 from Sweden's Kockums, and 2, the IKL 2000 from the consortium of Ingenieur Kontor Lübeck, Howaldtswerke Deutsche Werft, and the Ferro-Stahl Group from Germany. And so roughly 5 years after the project office was set up, a winner would be announced. In May 1987, Australia's Minister of Defence announced that the government had chosen the Swedish design and that the Australian Submarine Corporation, or ASC, would build them in Adelaide. The plan was to begin building in 1989, launch over 1993 and 1994, and commission in mid-1995. Interestingly, the Collins class is an enlarged version of the Kockums Västergötland class submarine, the Type A17, for the Swedish Navy. A bit of a side note here, but 3 out of the 4 Västergötland-class subs are still active today. 2 were sold to Singapore in the mid-2000s and would be recommissioned as the nation's Archer-class submarines. The third boat, HMS Södermanland, was refitted between 2003 and 2004. Modernization and refit work was so extensive that the sub would form its own class, the Södermanland class, and it's this sub that is now being leased out to Poland until 2032, since the Central European nation has decided to buy new generation A26 subs from Sweden, a nice and convenient connection to our original channel, Baltic Defence Review. But getting back to the Collins class and its Swedish design, Australia introduced its own standards, definitions and technical codes, enabling the Australian workforce and supply chain to build and sustain the submarines. ASC would go on to build all of the Collins-class submarines in Australia, going on to support the maintenance of the class. The first of the Collins class, HMAS Collins, was commissioned on July 27, 1996. March 2003 would see the last of the Collins class enter service, that sub being HMAS Rankin. The project faced several technical problems and cost overruns, but the Navy called the acquisition a, quote, success by global standards. Elaborating on the submarine class's problems, an article by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute says that in the years following the delivery of the last of the Collins class in 2003 and the resolution of most of the remaining technical issues, there were various negative headlines about the ships, partly through publicly available sources and partly through leaks from disgruntled insiders. It was stated that relationships between the Navy, ASC, and the group within the Department of Defence responsible for project management have become highly dysfunctional and occasionally outright hostile. From the sounds of it, things were really turned around after the release of a 2012 independent review by one Mr. John Coles. The report, referred to as the Coles Report, worked out in detail what needed to be done and who was best placed to do it. It also recommended that delegated authorities and accountability mechanisms were in place to let various parties get on with the work needed to be done. In 2014, a statement by the Department of Defence noted that submarine maintenance and availability had significantly improved thanks to the report. It was said that in the recent past, the Navy was often reliant on a single boat. After changes were made, 2 and frequently 3 submarines were often available for deployment at any one time. So was the class really a, quote, success by global standards? Well, considering Canada's extremely messy move to acquire Upholder-class submarines to replace their Oberon-class boats, we can acknowledge that the situation could have been even worse than what Australia experienced. Do check out the video on our sister channel Dominion Defence Review if you're interested in the topic. But anyway, here are the specifications for each diesel-electric submarine as published by the Royal Australian Navy. Displacement, 3,100 tonnes surfaced, 3,407 tonnes dived. Length, 77.8 metres, beam, 7.8 metres, and draft, 7 metres. Speed is 10 knots surfaced and 20 knots dived. And published range is 11,500 nautical miles. Each sub has a standard crew of 48 in addition to trainees. Propulsion is courtesy of 3 Heerdemoora/Garden Island type V18B/14 4-stroke turbocharged diesel engines, each providing 1,475 kilowatts, while Jumont Schneider of France supplies 3 1,400 kilowatt 440 volt DC generators. Armament comes in the form of McDonnell Douglas Sub-Harpoon Block 1B or UGM-84C missiles, and Gould Mark 48 Mod 4/6/7 torpedoes are fired from 6 21-inch or 533mm forward tubes. 44 mines can be deployed in lieu of torpedoes, while 2 SSE decoys comprise each sub's physical countermeasures. Electronic countermeasures for intercept and warning are provided by the L3 Harris ES3701U Precision Submarine Radar ESM system. For sensors, there's an I-band navigation radar, more specifically the Kelvin Hughes Type 1007. NavalTechnology.com states that the subs are equipped with Thales, formerly Pilkington Optronics CK043 Search Periscope and CH093 Attack Periscope, which incorporate a suite of thermal imagers, image intensifiers, and low-light television sensors. It's added that the subs deploy the Thales Underwater Systems Skylar active and passive bow array sonar and passive flank, intercept, and ranging arrays. Additionally, the class can be fitted with either the Kariwara or the Namara thin-line reliable array. This class of submarines is tailored specifically for its defence and two-ocean surveillance role in the Royal Australian Navy and was actually one of the first submarines fully designed by computers. The official webpage states that they include a high-performance hull form, highly automated controls, low indiscretion rates, high shock resistance, and an efficient weapons handling and discharge system. The submarine moves silently on electric power supplied by banks of new technology batteries charged by the 3 onboard diesel generator sets. Despite their capabilities, these subs aren't getting any younger, and technology has indeed improved greatly since these subs were first designed. In 2024, the government listed the Collins-class submarine capability as a product of concern to increase ministerial oversight and management of the capability. With this in mind, it was announced in May 2026 that a life-of-type extension would take place for the subs in order to, quote, reduce risk, enhance capability, and maximize availability for the Royal Australian Navy. While the modernization plan was only announced in 2026, such plans had been in the works for around a decade, as the Navy was aware of an impending capability gap. And so, for the life-of-type extension, this work is already underway, and ASC, as the government's sovereign submarine sustainment partner, will continue to be responsible for delivering the program. The Defence Department and ASC will retain and restore base components of the submarines while continuing to upgrade critical weapons and systems. ASC says that this life-of-type extension will provide the nation with conventionally powered submarine capability into the 2030s in advance of the Collins-class replacements. Despite needing this upgrade and modernization, we also need to point out that even today, this class still represents one of the most capable conventionally powered submarine fleets in the world. And despite past availability issues, the Aussies have also been able to achieve a very good availability rate for the fleet, with some metrics even exceeding international benchmarks. To wrap things up, you can see we've done our best to focus only on the Collins class as the launch of our AUKUS series. From here, the second episode will cover the competition to replace the Collins class, which actually began all the way back in 2007. But what do you think of Australia's late 1980s decision to go with the Type 471 from Sweden's Kockums? Let us know by leaving a comment.